Hey, hello everyone, and how are you today? I just putting a little note in there. One page ideas here, please. Okay, hi everybody. I hope that people have had a lovely day. Today's music of choice, letter B dash 52 apostrophe small s. That's what we're listening to today, and I gotta tell you, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. So, okay. I've been working my little guts out and trying to get a couple of things done here and get packed up and straighten up the house and all of the aboves. So because tomorrow is the beginning of a brand new adventure. Yeah. So kind of adventure that makes the whole world go giggly. I got nothing. All right. This week we have put out. This is yesterday's page. So I haven't shown the originals for the last couple of days, but Saturday, Sunday was a 2-page, 1-page idea. This is Monday's page, which is drawn in pencil, blue pencil, and fountain pen. And then today's page, I drew last night, and because I didn't draw during the stream yesterday because we had a special guest named Mr. Paul Pate. We also talked about Gary Hodges' new books, which my wife's going to do a review of, and then so I drew this page today, or last night, sorry, and energetic movement is the finished page. Now I've already drawn a page. I've got pages of posts for the next 2 days, and yeah, pages of posts for the next 2 days, and then I'm going to sit down and work on something while at a hotel room. So we're going for the conference. So, that sort of jazz. I'm going to do a little video, I think, as well, if I can, about art supplies. So, and just the sort of random smattering that weirdos like me buy when they go to an art store. It's interesting when you see people that when they go to the stores and the stuff that they pick up. Like there's this sort of, ooh, I'm excited about this. I bought a random book the other day, and it had a vellum wraparound on the book. And as cool as the book is, and I am sourcing it for imagery, the cover is was just as exciting for me because as soon as I saw it, I'm like, I'm going to cut that up. It's just a ridiculous way to look at the cover of a book, but it's like a wraparound thing, so it's not the real cover. So now that I've taken that off, there's no title on the cover of this book now, but I know what it is. It's a reference thing of photographs of people in New York City, just the randomness that is New York. So that's exciting, which is exactly what I honestly expect to see in Toronto. Okay, so yeah, so today's page was fun. You can see in the original when I drew it that there's no, the gutters are there for the separation of the background image, which is really not very important. You get the idea, it's cars, but cars in the street. But when I put the text in front of it, it disappears anyways. And so this is a case of layers, right? You've got your original image. You put some of this textual stuff up there, removing the parts that would go between the gutters, cleaning up the gutter area, putting a border over top of both of those things. Then you've got your compressed image down, and you're still putting the text on top. And so it's like, this is part of the fun that I'm having with the processes and putting a page together, like the application of some of these different additions to a work. And like even with the original art has there's spatter, like, so what it is I originally start with a piece of heavy grade cardstock that's got paint on it, it's got tape on it because I do that, and scribbles all over it. That'll, spirograph scribbles. And so having all of that invested on the page and then laying the image flat on top of it sort of gives it a a greater sense of action and momentum without it being the focal point of it, so that when the image goes on top, it's just sort of like an additive. It's just sort of the notion being that it's that's an underlying enhancement. So then when we get to the next stage where you're starting to embed the text in there, like the word energetic movement, and putting that in there in the same structure so that it's embedded into the visual image now, because the panels and the borders are going over top of that again. So that's my mode of thinking when I'm doing that. I'm missing things here. Oh, it's Gary. Hi, Gary. Good morning, sir. How are you? Packing up some things to send you. I'm going to try. I don't know if I'll be able to send them before Lori and I need to go do something for the next couple of days, but definitely will when we get back at the very latest. But getting stuff packed up to send you. So where was I? Oh yeah, so putting in things like the tape, putting in things like the scribbles, putting in things like the different applications of color and paint in the background before one even starts to draw on it is really just sort of scratching. It's like you're scratching an itch. You want to do something, but sometimes when you're always working with some modicum of representation, you don't want to. And so in that not wanting to, sometimes you just want to make a mess. And you can still facilitate your mess later on. Now, I'm going to switch cameras in a sec here. Before I forget, I put on the chat and says, one-page ideas here, please. Just, again, to suggest that if anybody does have notions for something you'd like to see a story of, or just concepts that you think is weird and might be interesting to apply a weird concept to story, or just you want to challenge me with some random words, feel free to put that in the comments on the chat here, or in the comments for the video if you're watching this afterwards, or on any of the social platforms that I post the pages on. I post it on Facebook and Instagram, and I also post it on my Patreon. But the Patreon, you also get the original art posted as well. So, All right. I'm working on another page for tomorrow that I'm not going to show you, but you can see the title at the top of the screen right now. So there you go. You won an award. So anyway, so this is yesterday's page, and this is the page from the day before. I'm going to switch cameras and show you something. Hold on a sec. I got my phone charging, so I have to unplug my head before I walk away from it. All right, so switch the camera, and then we're going to get crack-a-lacking. Okay, so this is the size of the original page, and you can see the various elements that are all there, just like it is in the scan. But you can see that the page has clearly got some surface work to it, with the different layers and so on and so forth. There's spattering in paint there, and ink, and a lot of fun to see. Yesterday's image is here, and this is, again, it's the same size, and the stuff's all there. It's just the finishes are added after the fact. Hi, Chris. I just noticed Chris Kalou's joined us. Welcome aboard. And so, again, this element is then scanned, and off we go to the races with the digital stuff. And then the day before that is the haunted dollhouse is same size. I drew this in pencil crayon, but then you make decisions along the way when you kind of work as, impulsively as I do. And so, then I drew another panel to insert onto the page. And so that's how, those elements will get assembled into a page. And then I realized this is for the things that I want to say and the spacing in the page, I needed more than one size of one page size. So I extended the image over to the second page just because that way, when you're reading this and you're looking at it's haunted dollhouse. I don't get it. And creepy dolls. And then you see the giant monster head. So, whee! All right. This is some of the stuff that I was talking about. This is some of the vellum wraparound from a book that I picked up. That I've got more words from it, but I'm just going to spread them out sparingly. This is the sort of thing I'm referring to where a page that I'm finishing right now. So I have these cardstock pieces that I've initially done prints of the monkey stamp that I made, and so I brushed over it with some acrylic in it. Of course, that ink spread like a maniac, so now it's just this crazy gesticulative brushstrokes. But that's great because this works as a flat base for drawing some images on. And so, but while I did that, this is the paper that was underneath there, which is perfect for the starting of another page. And again, another example of just spatter work on one of those pieces of cardstock. That's, I'll be using that as a base for something else. This is a page that I've stenciled stars on, and it was just scribbling and doodling on a piece of paper that already had these smudges there. So now I'm getting more smudges. Oh, it's already dried on. That's paint. Okay, so another thing I did was take some more of those cards that I printed little images on, testing out how to do printing with my grandkids for this stamp swap project that was on Dee Willingham's channel. And so this is some of the stamps that we did for that. And again, I just brushed over some, I think I brushed yellow paint, gold paint over top of the stamps. And so again, this is sort of a nice working surface, but I've taped 8 of these suckers down. So the idea here would be, I could draw one flat image that goes over top of these pieces like so. And again, not getting overly precious about the fact that this is a little tilted in its angle, or what any of the surface material is that's underneath it. None of that matters. That's just base. That's just a foundational thing for a surface for you to start working on. It would be no different for me to replace any of these. None of that really matters in my head. Like when I'm doing stuff, as I'm doing it, this is the non-thinking stuff. And I think it's really important that in whatever creative process, we allow ourselves those non-thinking, just creative yutzing around. I don't know if that's a word. I've just made it one. This is why I'll put Post-it in things. This is why I'll put tape in things. This is why I'll do all of those little ridiculous modulations into the surface. One, because it allows me to allow my head to just step out of itself and just try something, just work something out. So that when I do have the impetus to sit down and work on this as a surface, let's just go. I'll just look at it and go, we're drawing on this today. It doesn't make sense to some, I recognize that. But the way that I get some of the mixed media pages that I do, like this guy, is because I'm just drawing on paper and then throwing an effect on after the fact. But in a case like the energetic movement page, I'm clearly working off the foundation of a pre-modified piece of paper. And so rather than doing it as a part of the process to invest into the page, this is just grabbing something to the left that's kind of ready to go. I find stuff like that fun. And if you're having a moment in your creative journey, maybe where you yourself are saying, I want to do something, I want to get into flexing my creative muscles outside of the norm, allow yourself the legitimacy of taking another material that you might use and go to town and do just play on some surface and let it dry and let it whatever, set it aside. and then reinvestigate it when you have that moment. So, I'm sorry. Chris has said something here. Chris says, I like the expressions in the close-ups. I think you're referring to this page. So I played a little bit with this page. Thank you, by the way, Chris. It's very nice of you. Chris says she's better at portraying animals. Yeah, your illustration work where you're doing the fur and stuff like that is really pronounced. I really like that. This page is random character. The guy screaming is kind of in reference to the film In the Mouth of Madness. The center panel on the top. Let's see if I can make you see them around. You can see. No, you can't see it. You can't see my mouse moving around. So, the first of the 6 panels on the side, that's me. The second one is 2001: A Space Odyssey. Then there's Jack Nicholson in The Shining. Down below is them. The first film by Jordan Peele, and then beside that is Anthony Hopkins in The Silence of the Lambs. So these are just thriller, horror, psychological horror films that I think, to me, resonate more deeply and scary than slasher, gore, teenage girls at summer camp running from some, creepy, pervy guy with an axe or a knife or whatever. That's not horror. That's just jump scares, right? Horror is a subversion of normalcy. I mean, like when you look at Lovecraftian stuff and cosmic horror, Sphere of the Unknown, and then when you look at psychological thriller horror, it's fear of threat, fear of being disempowered by someone who's of a will to do something to you. There's those blends, and like with sci-fi horror, always blends ideas. Like I always like, what's it called? What's a movie where Donald Sutherland points goes? What's that? Oh, Invasion of the Body Snatchers. What a way to remember a title. Invasion of the Body Snatchers is numerous different types of horror. It's horror of loss of identity. It's horror of everything that you trust and value and hold dear to be taken from you, gentrified, whatever else, just absorbed against your own in want and the whole idea of the invasion force that you can do nothing to stand up against. And there's so many different things in a lot of sci-fi horror, whereas psychological horrors tend to go for one meat and potato. The Shining, isolation, right? It's the isolation and how much do you really know the people around you. Like, I think that that's probably, in my mind, the scariest movie ever made. Just because it sits with me as a creative type and who gets lost in this process, and is I'm already a bit of a weird character, and the isolation of that, I don't know how I'd fare 5 months locked up in a cabin in the snow. That's kind of crazy. Hey, it's Riri. Hi, Riri. Welcome aboard. So this is so that's what that page was about. Energetic movement is about the challenges of trying to draw action. Hey, Chris. Hey, Riri. I just really like that you typed. Hey, Chris. I think you meant the other Chris and Chloe. Yeah. So it's funny when you hear we've got our youngest is named Chris, and we're a blended family, and our youngest is named Chris, and so when our whole family got together, because I'm a Christopher, right, and he's a Chris, that way he didn't get called Little Chris or Chris Jr. or anything like that. He's a Chris and I'm a Christopher. But it's too long to write it. That's why I just write most of my last name. Most of it. I drop the I in my last name when I write it on things. Every page that I sign, there's an I after the C, but nobody can pronounce it. You'd be amazed the variations I get. It's just Runciman. That's why I signed my name this way. So anyhow, all right. So we've got, again, as I was saying before, if you have a notion, if you have an idea, if you have a challenge of an idea, if you have a suggestion for a one-page comic idea, you are more than welcome to say, "Hey, smart guy, I got something for you, Mr. Doodly Doo." Yep. Well, Chris says, "I'm Christina, but I hardly use the complete name." Nice. Christina, Christian. It took me 5 minutes to figure out that Topher, this Topher guy who was on a television show, it's Christopher. He chose to go as Topher, which when I was a kid seemed like doing something. Hey, Topher. I go, that's the dumbest thing. Celebrities. That's what he uses, and apparently it's more common than that. So I've got these different surfaces I can work on. If there's anything anybody sees here that they go, "Hey, use that one," then I'm keen to do so. Let's find the book. Hey, Topher. Hey, Tofu. Yeah, it's funny. It's funny, the abbreviations, alterations. There's a movie where a fella says, "I've got to go and assist my sister who just had a baby," and I'm not all that excited about it. And she says, "What, you don't like your sister?" And he says, "No, I just don't like the fact she named her child Afrony." It's like, Afrony? What? Yeah, I like silly names. Yeah, that's good stuff. And then confusing names like English. Of course, English is the easiest language in the world. You come from another part of the world and realize that the name William can be William, Will, Bill, or all kinds of Billy, Willie, all kinds of variations on that. That's easy. Okay, we got some things coming in here. Oh my goodness. Okay, just give me a second. I'll start writing stuff down. Boy, all at once. I see a jockey on top of a horse. Oh my gosh. Jockey on horse. Okay, action going left. Well, direction even. My goodness. Oh, the head is light brown, is it? Oh, we'll see. You didn't specify which one, and you don't get to now. Jockey leaning on the neck. Somebody's dead. Anyways. Somebody watched The Black Beauty last night. That's right. All right, I'll write that down in that book. So one of the things about this week is that tomorrow I'm going to be running about in Toronto. So I have got a page to post already for tomorrow, but I'm also going to do a little video of art supplies. And so I'll come on for a brief thing and do that at some point. It might not be tomorrow, but and then I think it's going to be Wednesday. Thursday or Friday, I'll be doing the stream from a hotel room. So that should be fun. Okay, now we got another one, Midtown Diner. I like that. That's wide open. That is wide. You know what I'm going to do? My contribution to an idea is I'm going to try to fit that into the page. Because that's a fun one. Okay, you want me to work on the green one? This one? Yeah, see, that's the problem with color on my camera. I'm gonna try to find a new camera. This yellow, but yeah, it looks like green. You're right. That's what I saw on the stamp marks that you have there. Okay, cool. I like it. Very clever. Who, me? Yeah. So yeah, so these are some cool ideas. We're gonna get those down. I've got a couple things I still got outstanding. I've tried to keep myself caught up and make sure that I try to do all that I can before I move forward. I want to show you something else too. This is something I picked up the last time I was in Toronto, and I haven't shown too much of it because I don't necessarily use it for what it's for. But this is a sketchbook that is a perspective grid sketchbook. I'm sorry. It's got 2-point perspective gridded paper with fade outs to the edge. And it's the size of 11. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Your daughter is 2 weeks overdue. Oh, good heavens. Has she considered the name Christopher? I'm just saying. Anyways, so this is something that I picked up. You can find it from Koala Tools. I can give you the number if you would like it. It is, I'll hold it up here, but it is 12520470068. Okay. Now, so what it is when you crack it open, it's literally just this. It's just grid patterns, which is great for perspective, Christopher. Not what I use it for, because I'm ridiculous. I will draw an image over this piece of paper that has, like, it's the same as everything else. Little to do with anything underneath it. It's a thin piece of paper. It's both-sided, right? The print goes right through. Okay, so that if you use it on a light table or something, it's gonna clearly show up. But I don't use it to actually draw perspective with, or at least I have not as yet. I just put whatever image over top, and so I'm going to do some of that. But this is a fantastic tool that may well benefit some of you if in your pursuit of mark making. So now, look up this company because they have a whole bunch of these types of things. Or at least they did at one point. So that's that. Yeah, the koala book. And so when let me see, I've got a drawing pad here somewhere. So when I throw it down on my drawing board, which is what I've got here, I just use it like a flat piece of paper. And go to town on it, and don't necessarily use it for the grid work. It's largely because, when multiple panels have multiple different perspective points, and so it's hard to just use, unless I'm doing one large static image on that, it would be hard to use that for multiple panels. It's a challenging thing because those panels are going to change your perspectives and so on and so forth. So, all right. So I've got the book out. Oh, I just turned off my darn music. Anyways, today's music is the B-52'' I don't know if you've heard them or not, but they are fabulous. Anyways. Okay, so so anyways, this is some of the stuff I talked about with surface modulation. I've been packing up some of my tools, so I don't have an awful lot of things in front of me right now. So we're going to see what we're able to do here. This is a base graphite, typical old graphic pencil, but it's got no finish on the wood, and it feels to me like it's a B. How do you know? And then, of course, the Mastercraft that I use is more like an H. So I'll be doing a little bit of doodly doing, but welcome aboard, Joshua Campbell. How are you today, sir? I must have it. Dang, I wish they had that when I was in art school. I think a lot of people are going to say that. I think a lot of people would. I had a fantastic drawing teacher that. He was a big proponent of, when you're figuring out 2-point perspective, to just allow yourself, after a while, you can continually be drawing lines to those specific points, but after a while, there's benefit as you're drawing to maintain the integrity of that point, as a fixed thing in your head, but think about how that line works to that point, so that you're not encumbered by having all of these extra lines on your paper, and only look at the lines for roughly the length that you really need them as you're putting it down. And so I had a teacher that challenged me a little bit more, so that honestly I never would have used that for its intended purpose in the first place, because I'm a complex monkey. Ordered it. Oh my gosh, ordered on Amazon. Riri, can you tell us how much you paid for that, if you don't mind, on your and this is American, US, yeah. If you can tell people how much you paid for that in American, that'd be interesting. Okay. All right. So what are we? Well, I've got a couple things that I've still yet to catch up on. I've got another sloth page, Matrix with sloths, or Jurassic Park with sloths. So I'll get to that. I don't want to draw sloths today. Data dishes did me. The bed made me. The phone answered me. Car started me. That's a fun one. Dun 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 dun. I'm looking through the book right now is what I'm doing. So, cat YouTuber. This some 500 years, and I'll do those when I get back from Toronto. Little Bob's is done. Boy Bands in Space is done. Bicycles stacked up against spiral staircases. I need more room for that than these small panel images. Riri says it was only $8.95. Wow, that's awesome. That is awesome. I couldn't tell you what I paid for this. I bought it maybe 10 years ago. Maybe 10 years ago. Maybe not, but maybe. Bicycles on roller coasters. Scott circling. There's ignoring the budgetary controls in an art store. I might do that this week. I'm sorry. What am I missing here? Joshua says a snowflake with hands. A snowflake with hands on every arm. Okay. That's in the book. I locked that in. I love the fact that I believe that when Josh Kemble, the Kremlinator, suggested this, I think he believes that I'm going to do actual snowflakes that fall from the sky. But my brain doesn't work that way, you see. So, all right, Sushi Submarine Lemurs is up there as well. Philip is joined. How you doing, Philip? Welcome aboard. I can't show you that page because I have people's addresses written down. Who's got two thumbs in a thumbless world is also a suggestion. You know what? I kind of want to do that one. Who's got two thumbs in a thumbless world? I guess that works better like this. Right? Look at that. All right. Who's got two thumbs in a thumbless world? I think is the silly bit I'm going to play with here. Who's got two thumbs? So what I was talking about at the start about giving yourself those moments, like if you do, I work this way specifically, right? And sometimes when you want to make a mess, you want to make some scribbles and doodles, but you don't have the time to sit down and get to it, or you're not, you're not into sitting down and working on the larger project that you're working on, but there's a part of you that wants to do something. Try that. Do what I was referring to earlier, and look at modifying surfaces and utilizing these in compositions, because giving that to yourself sort of lets you stretch outside of that that sort of static state that you might feel like you're in. So give yourself that. Okay. Who's got two thumbs in a thumbless world is where we're going with things. I'm just going to move my tester unit there. Okay. So, I'm going to get cracking on this. Is anybody working on Where's my pencil sharpener? There you are. Is anybody working on anything that they want to talk to others about? Please feel free to put that in the comments, as well as any other one-page suggestions. Has anybody got anything coming up next few days? Dee Dee will be streaming tomorrow morning. Tomorrow's Wednesday, I believe. Yeah. So there's something to watch, folks, if you're on the interwebs. And this is just a piece of melamine board that I have sitting here so that I can tilt when I'm working on here at a sufficient enough angle that I can work on it, but at the same time so that it doesn't set the angle or the pitch off for anybody that might be watching. So, Philip's working on something great. He's working on a sandwich right now. I'm working on a sandwich. What kind of sandwich, Philip? Or are you not going to tell us that? All right. Okay, so I got some ideas. I want to have a little bit of fun. So I think I'll do that. Before, though, this is a red-orange pencil. And yeah, that's yeah. What are you doing? What? Why? How? What does that make any sense? What's the point of that? You're not my mom's. I got nothing. Okay. Chris says, I'm making lunch here. No art stuff. Fish and vegetables. Hey, I had fish for lunch. Something fishy about that. All the cool kids are doing it. All right. So I don't know if you've had an opportunity to in the past or not, but one person that whenever I think about hands, I always think of was Jeffrey Jones, a painter and storyteller, sequential storyteller as well. Philip made a chickpea spread for sandwiches. That sounds too healthy for me, Philip. I don't do that. My one daughter, she'll do that. She'll be like, we're going to have this. And it's, what is it? Chickpea? Yeah. And to me, it's always, that's vegetarian, vegan stuff. I don't want meat. She loves to hear. Okay, so I'm throwing down just, I don't know if you can see it. It's not really picking up there. So what I'll do is, I'll do this. Why don't I just draw in white instead? Would that be easier? Oh, yeah, Chris. So I'm drawing in an arm. So I'm going to do some fun and silly little things where I've got our principal guy who is doing some dance, some ballet moves. And so I'll start there by building up some figures. And then, and I'm going to have them overlap a little bit, but the whole point is rather than the figures, I'm trying to accentuate the attention on the hands. So, that's the idea. That's my idea. Anyhow, so you can see the white appearing a little bit better than just the graphite I was going to structure it out with. This is the same. It's the same drawing in the white than it is drawing in with the pencil. It's just allow your brain to, rather than think about the marks that define the shapes, think about the light that defines the same volumes without the shadow. It's just lighter shadow. So there's our first form, and why not? Let's do some ballpoint. Is that coming through? Yeah, you can see that more readily. Well, that's fun. Chickpea. I don't. Yeah, I'm that pathetic, guys. I don't know if I know which one's a chickpea. It's a pea for ladies. like to, when I'm drawing with pen, to just, sometimes I just like to play with where the marks are going, and I'm far more interested in exploring that than I am worried about the definable, clean, precise lines that are going and defining anything that I'm drawing in a very specific delineative way. There are fantastic artists that do that contemporarily. Like there's Dave Malin, I think is his last name. Dave Malin art. He does absolutely elegant, definitive line in all the gesticular movements of the pen marks that he's putting down. Follow the contours of the form. And so you have to have that facility to be able to draw that line sweeping and moving and bending and for him it's specifically portraiture in the face or anything else that you might be drawing per se, right? So me, not so tidy. Sometimes just the differentiation of line in the first place allows the human eye, the viewer, to put those things together themselves, right? So depending on where you are in North America, it's lunchtime, and for others, it's I think still morning. East Coast is noon, early afternoon, mid afternoon. West Coast is still morning, still coming up on lunch here in North America. Overseas, if it's 2 o'clock here, I think if you're in Britain, Ireland, Isle of Man, Wales, Scotland, I think it's 8 o'clock at night. Yeah. Round and tan in color. Blended up, they make hummus. I like hummus. I don't like them otherwise. That's those peas, is it? Yeah. It's got chickpeas in it. Ugh, yucky. That's what I do. Yeah. It's Lori will put chickpeas in things, and I'll be like, yes, I'm a gigantic child. I'm balancing out the healthiness with corn chips. Well, there you go. Corn chips are still healthy. That's corn. There we go. So because I'm drawing basically on these playing cards, this works as long as they're on the same surface. As soon as these things shift or drop off, then messes. Chris says it's 12:43 here in Mexico. See, there we go. You're at lunchtime. It's 2:43 for me. Mr. Jim Luan, how you doing, sir? How is everybody? Oh, personal. And I'm coming in now with this white jelly roll pen and kicking up some marks here. You know what else I can use is I have this little toolbox here. It's full of secrets. Don't look, don't tell. So because I've already put some paint down on this cardstock, it's got enough tooth that I can actually put pencil crayon on it. And even better, China marker. This is one of the things, by the way, I'll be picking up in Toronto. So sure am I that I have made an order before my arrival. I dare say I am excited about it. All right. You're doing a productive weekend. There's cafes all over California. Jim is gallivanting around too and doing stuff within the confines thereof. Changing his face. So what have I got? Who are you? A Uniball. Hey. So the musical choice that I have for today is the B-52 apostrophe small s. That's the band I'm listening to today. So I'm just dropping in spots with the Uniball. It's very wet. The ink is just sort of sitting on the surface, so we might have to give that a minute. That's okay. We'll give him his time. Who are you? I'm a free time, Chris. Oh, why don't you get over here? So this is a inexpensive Daler-Rowney, I think it is. That they'll sell these at department stores and the like. I mean, really inexpensive. Not very good either. But immediately they do the job at hand. Where am I in Toronto? I'm going to be downtown Toronto. I've got, if you're not working, I'll come around and have coffee. Oh, well, yeah, we'll see what I can do with the old schedule. Bringing the question of the day. Here we go, Mr. Jim Lewin. Yeah, I'll let you know, Phil. What role do you play in your family? King Grand Poobah of Upper Buttcrut. It's a scientific term of it, anyways. Who are you? Let's put this in. Okay, so the question of the day is, what role do you play in your family? The chooser of the beats, the tasty jam beats, the hip hop happening slides. That's one of the things that I'm responsible for. I'm a sidekick to my wife and our kids. Also known as, it's my dad, and it's just one of my parents, that as well, and one of my kids thinks it's funny to say, "Hey, Daddykins." I don't know why. He's done it for years. It's just annoying. There's my Daddykins. He's introduced me that way. Just because he can. What role do I play in my family? Agitator. Oh my God, Philip. Whoa. Jim, those stepmom vids aren't bad. Oh, wait, I read that too fast. Quick question. How do you delete comments? You don't. Ever. This is electrical tape that I'm putting on here now. It's a Proflex brand, if anybody's familiar with the Proflex materials. It's cheap dollar store electrical tape. I know you're like, oh my God, that's awesome. I hear you. Okay, so there's our first insertion of a guy. Now, so one of the things to consider whenever drawing, and especially when drawing mixed media and with a number of different sort of a weird layout of panels like this, don't forget to leave volumes inside there that are going to be covered up. They're going to be covered up because of text, right? Storytelling. It's words and pictures. I think that allowance for that expectation and understanding of that gives you the facility to be able to say, I'm not going to be disappointed in my process, right? Okay. Chris says, interesting question. I'm a caretaker of my dad after my mom's passing. Budget planner, administrative head of the house. Tough role. Yes, indeed. Good news. He's very independent at 87. Fantastic. We're doing an awful lot with Lori's parents, and her dad's 87 as well. That's why I can still have a full-time job at university. Excellent. Yeah, I'm glad that you're afforded that opportunity too. Gary says, actual answer, I'm not sure. Probably the artsy college grad in your family unit. Yeah, that's and really good blessings on you too, Chris. That's a chore of work, is to make sure that you're there for your loved ones. And some people don't have the ability to do that. I know that sounds a little strange, but there's a part of me that's like, as we're going along and trying to be there for Lori's parents, like my job at my nephew's wedding this weekend was to be there for dad, and make sure to get him there and to take him home and that was my priority, really. And when you're doing stuff like that, you start to realize, which one of my kids would even do this? Oh my, I'm in trouble. Yeah. Jim says, I think I'm kind of a jokester, peacemaker, creative. Same role as outsider in my family. Yeah, that's I think you're going to find that I think you've got to have a really fantastic, creative, and interesting family, because you're a really good peacemaker. You're a good peacemaker, Jim, and I think it'd be interesting to be in a room at a Luan family get together. See, I don't know. I wear so many hats in this family; it's ridiculous. It's because I'm a dad, because I'm a grandpa, because I'm a agitator, because I weird creative type. Yeah, I think that anybody that answers this is going to find that about themselves. So I'm just highlighting some of the little bits of information that are in the surface area of what I've already laid down here. So just bringing some of that out. Just Priscus, just to keep it interesting, recognizing again that it's going to disappear if I put text over top of this and this. So who cares? All right, so this is the hand. I just want to let this dry for a moment, but this is the hand that I just drew in a moment ago. Cat Dad. Oops. So I was really unhappy with the neck in the top corner of this, so I changed it. Jim, isn't a peacemaker a gun? It's it was. Is it still? Do they still? It was a Colt, wasn't it? The Colt Peacemaker. I think that I don't know if they still do production of that. Do guns have brands? Anyways. Hey, who better ask than you Americans? You guys all have 16 guns in your houses. That's what we learn on TV. And in Canada, our prime minister threatens to come to our house and take it himself. Josh says, I tend to be the desert eagle of my family. I'm a Walter. Anyhow. All right, so I'm putting in the continuation of this image into this panel. And again, the background materials really don't matter per se, as it kind of doesn't matter what they are, right? It kind of doesn't matter what the well, it's supposed to be a clock. Well, it is if I want it to be a clock. But that's the fun thing about it being your pictures, is that you get to choose. That's a good question today, Jim, is that it sort of helps people to define themselves, to evaluate themselves in that state of where you are, and maybe not just your family, but any of those things that help people with self-definition, I think can be really beneficial, because it allows you to maybe reevaluate your path or something sometime. So this is gold, the paint that's on this card. And so it's got a real luminosity that sort of shuts me down a little bit. Joshua says, my honest answer is probably the black sheep. Josh and I are both the youngest of 5, which automatically makes us the best. Is that right? I didn't know the rules worked that way. 5 kids? Gary says, spoken like a youngest child. Everybody knows the oldest is best. Everyone. All right. Anybody else want to weigh in on this? We got any single kids out there? We got any kids from 2? I guess even if you're from a 2-kid family, there's either an oldest or a youngest. But anybody that doesn't have any kids in their family, doesn't work. Chris says, I'm the eldest too. Oh, yeah, 2 against 2. Ladies and gentlemen, come ringside to watch the debate of the century. Well, buckle up, cats and kittens, because I'm the middle child. There's something to be said for oldest kids and families are the ones that just go out and do their own thing. And the wild ones that foray new territory, and the parents go, ah! Right? And then there's the pragmatic middle, or the next kid along. It may well be the 3rd kid in the big families. And then there's, because in my case, it's the 2nd and 3rd that are both the pragmatic ones. And then there's the younger ones who are either babies, the overly babied and precious angel ones, or they're the ones that have seen what all the older ones have done and said, I'm not doing that. So they're the surveyors of all the damage. So it's fun, that. It's a fun how that all works out in a family. And that could be like the 2, 3, 4 youngest, whatever it is. Bigger families, it gets nuts. But I think that there's always interesting dynamics that come together in families. And the middle kids are single kids. They're wild cards. I don't have a role anymore. I was the only child. Folks are gone. I'm single now and never had kids. Well, how do you? Yeah, so that's a challenging in a family dynamic, but you did go to your aunt's recently for a family event, so you still got a family role, family dynamic, right? So the one pen bleeds. That's all right. We'll get through it together. Okay, so hands, hands, hands. What in the world am I drawing? Who's got two thumbs in a thumbless world? Okay, so I think that I'm going to play with this a little bit more. Jayvon is only allowed the youngest in our crew. The oldest is like the best. The oldest is the best, like Windows. 1.0 was the best. That's a way to compare oldest kids in a family. I am a precious baby angel surveyor. There you go. There you go. Not every youngest in a family, by the way, is that, but a fair amount of them can be. Not all of them, but so I'm just taking this form and I'm turning it on its side, and I'll throw it down here. Just I like the in my head. Okay, so here's what my head does when I'm working. In my head, when you watch the beginning of a James Bond movie, and brace yourself, you're going on my noggin and my working process for a second, so just brace. When you watch the beginning of a James Bond movie, they'll have all these montage figures that will move in and out of a frame, like whether, I don't know, ladies jumping in and out of a swimming pool or whatever arbitrary thing that they use just to, introduce the film. But that's the notion that my head has right now. That is why I'm reiterating this compositional element here as a silhouette in the back. And bringing in this figure up into the panel, and now I can have this figure, doing an elaborate movement as well. It's just trying different stuff, right? Precious baby angel surveyor is a great nom de plume. I expect you to use that from now on. I think that you should stop calling your people crumbles and start calling them precious baby angel surveyors. Anybody that watches Josh's stream is a Kremlin. It's a Kremlin. Is that showing up? That shows up a little bit better. I switched over to this just because the bleeding pen is annoying me, and I'm very sensitive. Very, very sensitive. So, yeah, there's some awesome suggestions that have come in today. I'm going to be spending time while in Toronto. Other people go to another city and they're very excited to get out and to go to places and to do things. I have a couple objective places that I would like to see. That's it. I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy who goes to, I'm going to go to Montreal and look at all. No, part of me, the whole idea of going to another place and having some time to just, the newness, differentness of the new place, for me, is to be able to relax and just not get all caught up in racing around like a Looney Tune trying to see the things and places and people. And I'm going to try to see something like Philip said about me, not that neat. But, if I got to travel across the city to go to some cool Korean place, that's just not happening. So, there's a bookstore downtown Toronto. There's an art gallery there. There's some stuff like that. I'll try to see some of those things. It's just in the core area and not get too worked up about traveling too far. So the electrical tape that I put down is just going to be incorporated into the image itself. And this white Faber-Castell, is it showing up? Is the Faber-Castell showing up? I think so, yeah. Is a really, it's a light marker, pen brush it's called, but it doesn't have much tooth or much pigment that it puts down, and it blends a lot. So that's fine. We'll use it to put down some marks in the surface, but I'm not overly banking on this being a defining mark maker. Other mark makers that you'll have is that as soon as you put that mark down, it's got this wonderful opacity to it, and I like that. But other things, not so much. So again, so pursuing this idea here, the idea is, so now I'm going to go through here and I'm going to define some of the musculature in his back a little bit better. This is a China marker, it's called. And why is it called a China marker, Chris? Isn't that a little, it's for writing on ceramics. There's certain bands, here we go. Chris is on a tangent, buckle up. There's certain bands that when you're listening to them, they sweep you up so much. And for me, it's the B50, like a couple of them are the B52s, or the Sugar Cubes, or Bjork. There's just something about the mentalness of the singers in those bands that it's just, you get swept up in those moments. I think that even though I was trying not to, I'm going to have to define. I was trying to maybe make a cut here and not continue to define the body into this previous panel, but I don't think I have a choice in that matter. So. Am I missing stuff? If I am, I'm sorry. Oh, Riri says, I love the B52s. Those of us that are in the know call them the B-52 apostrophe S's, or small S's if you're really cool. That's not true. I've never heard them. I'm just an idiot. But yeah, I like the B-52s. They're fun and ridiculous, and started listening to them as a teenager back on vinyl, and yeah. All right, so it's kind of tying together a little bit now. We got an hour, so I'll hold that up. So the images are kind of tying together, which is kind of fun, right? It's I think it needs something more. I think that it needs a punch of yet another value. Riri says they're just fun. Yeah, just great fun. Yeah. And then Chris says, my dad listened to ABBA and my mom Queen. Excellent. Both bands that I'm a big fan of. So one of the silly things that we like to do is that when we're driving, and even if we'd have kids in the van, we're going someplace, and we don't care. We just sing along with Queen or ABBA or Air Supply. I don't care what it is. Boston. We're just belting along. A Foreigner. We're just belting along with it as we go, and punishing our children. But those are both bands that fit inside that. So I'm just throwing some orange down. Now, the first coat that I put down is going to have spreading of the value, right? But if I go over this again in a second, the orange will adhere to that a little bit better. And the more pigment that's on the brush and less water, it sticks better as well. So I've got the page that this is all adhered to. When I scan it and put it in Photoshop, I'll just eliminate that section back there. I loved Queen, ABBA. Boston. Your parents like Boston? Your parents like Bee Gees? So some of this little bits and bobs of texture from the stamp that was initially put down is it's kind of fun. But I like to push it back a little bit too by hitting some of these values over top and diffusing that the how opaque that white is. Riri says Boston. Wow, you gotta love Boston. Love that song. Gonna Hitch a Ride. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Still have those LPs from the disc era, the red, yellow, crazy colored ones. Excellent. Excellent. There's a comic series called Kingdom Come, painted by Alex Ross, and about set in the future of the comic company that has Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and the Green Lantern character that's in that series is Alan Scott, the one from the 1940s. But he wears this jacked up suit of green armor, and he carries a lancing, a jousting lance. I'm sorry. And but there's a space station that he has built from the ring that he wears from his will alone, that rotates the Earth and watches for interstellar threats that are coming to Earth. That spaceship is built of all of the covers of Boston all put into one. Right? They're all like, so that's, look it up, Kingdom Come. Just Kingdom Come Boston. I'm sure you'll find an image of it, but it's awesome. I love stuff like that. So, and clearly somebody liked that growing up. I think a lot of us, from back in the day, think about the Boston first stage, second stage, third stage album covers fondly. So there's the whole thing in the late teen 80s. We would be painting jean jackets with band logos, and I painted the Blood, Sweat, and Tears logo on the back of somebody's jean jacket for him, and I did such a great job of it. I was so happy and so pleased with it because lettering is challenging. And then the person that I did it for, and they paid me $25. They weren't really wearing it around. I'm like, I hope I did a good job of that for you. But they were tired of how many people were asking him, what's BST? Too bad. Because Blood, Sweat, and Tears. Come on. If anybody doesn't know who Blood, Sweat, and Tears are, yes, you do. You just don't remember. Spinning wheel, right? Yeah, Chris, you do rock Heaven Elbows and LP still, by the way. That is true, maybe. All right, so this has got some schmutz. It's got schmutz. That schmutz out of get out of here. All right. Okay, so I've got the China marker on here, and I'm going to feed some of the acrylic paint pen, acrylic paint in here. I'm going to get some new paint pens while I'm in Tirana. Trick is budget. Budget thyself. That's the secret. Budget thyself. So I'm going to try to see if I'm going to be allowed to show the store that in Toronto. I'm going to see if I'm going to be allowed to show people around it, because exciting, right? Riri says I embroidered pan on the back of my boyfriend's jacket. Oh, the forest, the pan of the Greek tradition. Nice. Was he a big Jethro Tull fan? I did a Marillion. I did early 80s comic artist thing. Matt Wagner created a character called Grendel. I painted a number of Grendel logos on people's jackets. And Led Zeppelin, all the standard nonsense. Maybe he was a Jethro Tull fan. Yeah, Jethro Tull's great. Ian Anderson. Fantabuloso. You gotta love a band that writes a song called Thick as a Brick. So I'm just putting in some more definition into musculature on his back and separating out, defining a little bit better some of the directions of the old muscles. Are you listening to him today, really? That's fantastic. I was listening to Boston earlier today, so there you go. And April Wine, that was another one I enjoyed. My favorite bands, though, when I was a teenager was easily, with more so than anything else, was Led Zeppelin and Yes, when I was a teenager. And then I also had a period where I really enjoyed Duran Duran and the Guess Who and Depeche Mode. Every 80s one-hit wonder that was on the radio. And there were a lot of them. There were sure a lot of them. Rush, all that sort of stuff. Relive the same ones. Excellent. The Cure, there's another one that I enjoyed a fair amount. Eurythmics. Annie Lennox is a powerhouse. Anybody that disagrees with you can stop talking to them. Just so many fantastic. Annie Lennox is got power in her. She's basically like the female Freddie Mercury. The things that the woman exudes power so simply in her vocals. It's just I always thought it was impressive. So I've got Riri says I got a Duran Duran CD in the thrift store. Excellent. Annie Rocks, of course. The list is long. Peter Gabriel, Aha, Stevie Nicks, Duran Duran, Roxanne. I think every woman, 50s, 60s that I have ever known likes Stevie Nicks because she just speaks to women, I think. Chrissie Hynde, All the Way, Pretenders. Yes, indeedy. I was scared by Chrissie Hynde when I was a young man because there was something about her charisma. Oh, and Heart. Don't forget the Wilson sisters. Something about Chrissie Hynde's charisma unnerved me. The whole growling thing she'd do unnerved me as a young man. If you're not aware of what we're referring to, anybody that is here that doesn't know a lot of this music, please look up Chrissie Hynde and the Pretenders, and I think you could really hear her growl in King of the Road. And then in the 80s or 90s, there was a band called Concrete Blonde, which in my mind was sort of like really kind of picked up with a Pretenders vibe, but with a more gothic, romantic kind of a lyricism. But the drummer for Concrete Blonde at one point was the drummer of Roxy Music, which is always blown me away. She was tough. Is tough. Chrissie Hynde is tough. She was married to the lead singer of UB40, that guy. Oh. She's living in England for a long time, but I never understood that relationship. Those two. What? So here's our next silly character. What am I missing? The Cranberries. Oh, yeah. I was sad to hear about Dolores O'Riordan passing away. That was sad news, then. But I had all their albums. Anybody that ever listened to the Cranberries, the funniest thing about their albums, it was always the four of them sitting on a couch someplace. The covers of their records is ostensibly the four of them side by side. It was like just a funny way to theme your albums. It's kind of like Weezer and how they have the four of them lined up together on each album with a different color background, which I actually find to be a negative, because you got to remember their albums based on colors, and that I haven't got that much clarity of thought here. So, all right, so I'm just continuing this whole hands in the air, flitting about, and all that sort of stuff for who's got two thumbs in a thumbless world. So what I thought that I would do is that as I move over into this fourth image, right, and then I have him doing one more thumb pose right here, and I'm going to make it larger so it sort of sits, and so it just really plays with this whole notion of scale. But then I'm going to have a response from people like, who does he think he is? He thinks he's so great, and they're going to exhibit a lack of a thumb in the way that they're, so. Who was married to the Cranberry? Oh, it was another performer. I can't remember who it was, but it was, I'm sorry, I can't remember. But Dolores O'Riordan passed away in her hotel room, and her partner or former partner broke the news. It was really sad. And again, they were a musician as well. All right, so I'm wanting these cards to dry. The nice thing about working on these cards, and I'll show you one. So they've got a good thickness to them. And this is an old business card from the 1940s. And so it's hella big and it's thick. And it's already got the sort of rounded edges on it too. So you can make a nice playing set, nice set of playing cards here with these. And I would consider doing so. I've got a couple of bundles of these, and that's it. Like I couldn't tell you where to find these or where to get them because there was a printing company that was in Chatham, Ontario. It's actually where one of the two creators of Superman worked when he was a teenager. And so I had inherited all of these printing presses and stuff like that. And I had no room to store all this, and it's all lead type letters. So I've got a bunch of it still, but I helped these young artists open up a community printing studio, and then they moved to Kitchener and took it all with them. So, easy come. So I never get to see my babies again. But it's just some of the stuff that I have left over from that, which is kind of keen like a jelly bean. A little bit of an outline around this guy here in his silhouette. In his silhouette pose. All right. The cards look great. Oh, thanks, Riri. Yeah, these are keen. These are keen. I got to figure out a way to send some of these to people, maybe. Got to go see you around. Have a nice trip. Thanks, Chris. We'll see you soon. I'll be back. Of course, I'll be back guaranteed on Monday, but I'm going to be posting some while I'm in Toronto to YouTube. So I'll put I'll put it up there. You'll have if anybody's got interest to see some of the silly antics that I get up to. So this is just coming in with this Jelly Roll pen, putting in a little bit more detail front there. But yeah, lots of fun. What are we at? 1:30. Yeah, I hope everybody has a good week that's not able to tune in and catch things here. I do know that I've got a fair amount to do in TO, but I am going to try to do anything I can to be able to come on and say hello and show you some fun pictures. And I'll be trying to post pages because I'm not going to stop doing pages while I'm in Toronto. Time off for good behavior. I don't really see taking holiday from what I do. I'm one of those annoying types that says, "Oh, I really enjoy what I do," which I'm sure a lot of people do. I can't. I'm always drawing. I got a problem. I've got problems. Plural. So I'm making up. I don't really, and I'm not looking too closely about what's in the image and behind. I'm sort of just, fudging it as I go around. And sometimes there's some fun to that because you're going to pull out little bits and bobs that you might not have seen otherwise. I'll have to spray seal this or something. I'm going to leave that for a moment because we're going to put some orange on top of that sucker in a sec. So for some of this here red schmozzle, I don't know what I did with that. This is the contouring some of the edge of where the orange ends. Just little things, just to keep the eye moving around. And remembering that text is going to go here. Text is going to go here, right? Text is going to go through here. Maybe something there. Like it's just, I try to keep those things in mind as I'm fiddly-diddling around there. That's a professional art term. I don't suppose I can convince anybody that's on the stream here to come to my house and mow some lawns today, can I? No? No takers? I understand. I've got kids, and Rose next door has got kids, and I can't get them to do it either. But soon, the grandkids will be of a decent age. I got my travel toothbrush ready. Not for traveling, not to take with me. I use it for flicking paint. So there's a lot of reds in here. It's out of the picture. Thank you. So I'll let that dry for a second. Yes. Hello, Rachel. Still alive and kicking. Have a great time in the big city. The Big Smoke, Hogtown. Can't think of all the different things that Toronto gets called. The big city, eh? Oh, going down to Toronto, are you? Oh, good. You have a good time there, but anybody? So I know a bunch of people that just live in a small town up in Northern Ontario, and whenever somebody says, "Yeah, we're going down to Toronto," oh, you want to see the doctor? That's the common thing that people say is, "Oh, you're going to the doctor, are you?" Because I guess there's no doctors between Ottawa and Toronto. One of those things. Tried to post on Instagram, not sure it worked, so post it on Facebook as well. I will definitely look those up. Anybody that is wondering what Rachel's referring to, she is posting her alphabetery pages that she's been doing, where she picks a letter and she does a whole bunch of associative references and visualizations for that letter. It's awesome. They're really well done. And this way we get to celebrate her accomplishments. They're not in order. She made a point of that. It doesn't matter. What should it matter? I did a book called Alphabet Book. It took me 3, which is an alphabetery, right? It took me 3 issues to get the entire, they're 20-page books, and it still took me 3 issues to get the entirety of the English language, like of each letter of the English language done. It took 3 issues to do that because I kept doubling letters, like, the letter N has got 2 different pages and stuff like that. So the 3rd book, I think, starts with the number 1. And it says, "My book, I can do what I want." That's the whole page. Nonsense. Nonsense but fun. Can I have fun? I'm glad to see you're feeling better, Rachel. So I'm just going over some of those areas that are diffused because of either frescolated value over top of them or watercolor and drop on top of them, right? Don't roll on the floor laughing. Make sure that that's a page. You make that a page. There you go. I don't count in order either. I can. I'm really good at counting. I can count, well, generally, I can count as high as my fingers and toes, but once I get past 12, I'm in trouble. Yeah. Let's try you out. Ooh, we're going to try this. Not staying. I promised I would try Instagram. Think I'm a fail, but I have potential. Nope, you're going to do. I think we're looking forward to seeing. It takes a minute to figure out how to post these ding dong things on there. And then sometimes it'll be like, you think you've got it sorted out, and Instagram's like, nope, can't post this. It generally is because the image is too big. Woohoo! Oh, look out! Oh, my dear sweet Athabasca. So this is just a makeup sponge that I've dabbed in the watercolor brick, and it just brings another little layer of value. So I'm at this point, the first panel is done, and I think this needs one more little something, and then I'll move on. But I have to have this done tonight, which I normally do anyways, but because I'm busy in a tizzy. Just a little bit. Well, that's fine. Yeah, I like that. See that granular texture. So there we go. That's one more little bit of business over here. Whee! Well, that's some exciting stuff. Yeah, just sometimes when you use a lot of red and stuff like that, it is important to go the opposite direction. Spread that green around in here. Make a mess on that. I just threw the green that was left on the bottom of the sponge on one of these cards. We'll deal with it later. All right. So yeah, so we got the first panel, 3 panels together. So the page that I'm working on here is Who's Got Two Thumbs in a Thumbless World? And so in this panel, I'm going to have him basically going like this at himself. And then I'm going to cut to a reaction down here. Cut back to him doing something stupid, thumbs up. Back to a reaction. I don't know. I'll figure out the punchline for the end, or the culmination of the process at the end here. Maybe it'll be something like "get him," who knows. But yeah, I'm gonna pursue that and get that finished off. Listen, it's been really fun hanging out today in today's stream and with everybody that's come in. And I missed a bunch of stuff. I mean, it lasted for the last 2 hours. Rachel's a troublemaker. Gary says hi and bye, Rachel. Loving and leaving, Rachel says. Very sweet. Yeah, I think I'm going to sign off. I get some a couple of chores done while the day is young, and get myself together. So I will be taking a video tomorrow of the art store. If they won't let me take a video there, I'll be definitely taking a video in the old hotel room, taking a stock of what I got and trying to figure out, hey, what do we do with this? I'm going to be using my phone for taping while I'm in Toronto. So bring a camera stand. Good. Thank you for reminding me. And hopefully it's not too weird for folks. But yeah, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you, everybody. Keep on creating. Thank you. Keep the suggestions coming in. Those are great. Lots to work with. I'm going to be working on a couple of new ones this week. And I hope everybody has a good week and doing what they do. If you get a chance, check out yesterday's stream. We got to talk with Paul Pate about his process. He was a guest on the show, and that was super keen. And other than that, I will do my best to stop in and say, hey. But I think Thursday or Friday, or Thursday and Friday, I will be streaming from my hotel room. Okay? Okay. So that's it for me for today. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.